Movement is one of the main core gameplay pieces of Apex Legends, but what does good movement actually look like? What distinguishes the average zipline frog from a master of manipulating their opponents? In today's video, I'm going to be highlighting a coaching session I had with a student where I break down the core components as to what makes movement actually good. Note, however, this video does not talk about how to do these movement techs. There's a million videos on YouTube that can do that for you. Instead, I'm going to be focusing on the hows and when you should be using movement. This is going to be far more helpful for you, and if this video does end up helping you, be sure to subscribe and give it a like. Hope you guys enjoy. Strafing to make aiming easier. Utilizing movement tech to take fundamentals, not just look cool. I will go over this a little bit in a second. Being too aggressive for the clip, occupation, the advantage, taking less damage. Okay, efficiency, getting. Okay.
The roller brain is one we've already talked about in the past, but it's just something I'm still working on.
Yeah. I want to talk about this. So I see this is like a thing I see so many people talk about, especially every movement player does this, right? Every movement player goes, I have cover. Superglide! Right? Like they do that all the time. I see it happen so much. I've seen people like my insane movement and aim fire emoji, and then they're like behind cover, and then here's what they do. They have a box here, and they're like, hey, I'm behind the box, I have cover. I have no reason to really do anything. Superglide! And then they go back and they superglide back into the cover. I'm like, why did you do that? There was 0 point to do that, right? If you superglide out to fight them, like there was a point to that, arguably, right?
They don't even like shoot 90%.
They don't. They just like beta shot and just take damage. And I'm like, oh, okay, good job.
And then half the time the clip will be them peeking like from the left side of the box too, and then just doing 100 damage and they're dead.
And the guy this is their opponent. This is their opponent. No hands, Andy. No hands, Andy.
Default Bloodhound crouching in the open.
Oh my god, I was playing the LTM and I did like super good, like a circle around a Bloodhound. The Bloodhound just like was looking forward. I was behind them. I'm like, I am so sorry.
I hit a Mantle Jump on a default lifeline the other day and they just stopped playing. They're like, nope.
Excuse me, another yawn. But okay. So the whole point of strafing fundamentals, right? Strafing fundamentals and movement tech. How do these things work together? How do you actually apply Apex specific tech to movement? Or like power strafe, right? So strafe, more specifically, dodge, right? Let's replace this wording with dodge, because what we're doing when we're doing movement tech is we're dodging, right? Our whole goal when we do movement tech, you ask a movement player, they're like, well, I want to take less damage, right? So let's just dodge, right? Whole point of what we're doing is we're dodge. We're trying to avoid the opponent's crosshair, right? Proper movement tech. What we're trying to do is we're trying to do one of three things typically. We're trying to either one, avoid crosshair, right? We're trying to avoid the opponent's crosshair. 2, we're trying to reposition. Oops. Reposition. Or 3, this is an Apex specific thing. This is keep momentum. Now 3 is the hardest one to do, and 3 requires the most training. This is something like Zeto is good in. This is the whole movement chain, like this is what this is what Mad Maggie players do. This is what Mad Maggie players one tricks do. They go, "Where's my ball?" And then they do this with a shotgun, and then they are annoying, right? But this does not have good strafe fundamentals because there's no goal bias, right? And if somebody realistically knew how to strafe against you, aka they took a diagonal against you, you would just be dead, right? Because the half of your every movement is a straight line to them, so they would just actually kill you, and you would not. Yeah. It's really hard for you to aim, right?
That's one of the reasons I was saying R5 is not the same, as people do that and you just strafe left and kill them, and it's just really boring.
Exactly, right. There's the worst players ever on R5. Holy shit, that's so bad. But so what exactly are these goals, right? Reposition. This is pretty simple. This is like, oh, box here, super glide over to this box. This box is better. I'm like, yeah, that's good. That's fine. That's 100% fine to do, right? All the speed boosting movement techs are completely fine to do here. That's what you want to do. You know, when I say movement tech, I also mean like slide jump. That's a movement tech, right? That's a basic ass movement tech, but it's still an important one. Super gliding, mantle jumping, stuff like that can all be used just for simple repositioning. Repositioning, we're taking a stronger space. We're contesting space that's really important for us too, right? Like for example, if an enemy has high ground, we can mantle jump to them. It's important that we're able to get there through movement to be able to actually fight there, right? It helps a lot. Keep momentum, like I said, things like Zeto. Now, the number one thing you should do is avoid crosshair. And now, do you know the golden rule of dodge?
Probably. I don't know how to explain it.
Basically, if it works, keep doing it. Right.
Yeah. So if you're strafing right, just keep going right.
Exactly. If you're not taking damage, keep doing that. I don't care if you're in the silly wonky donkey strafe, right? I don't care if you're freaking hitting the fucking gritty, right? I don't care what you're doing. As long as it's working, keep doing it, right? This is really important. Now, how do you apply this with movement tech? Well, simple enough, right? If you're every movement player does this, where they go, okay, box, right? I said this earlier, but if they go in the box, they climb it, they super glide, they hap strafe back, and now they're in the box, right? This did nothing to provide anything, right? In fact, what they'll do a lot of the time is they will let's say there's an opponent, like let's do like a top down view. Let's go top down view of a box. Their opponent is here, and the movement player is here. They will super glide like this out to the right, and then they'll strafe left. Now this is bad. You know why?
You're just going back into their crosshair.
Exactly. If you use this super glide properly, which it looks like they obviously have the right idea.
Something I do a lot, by the way, by mistake.
Every movement player does. I will watch anybody, and I'm not gonna say names because that'd be a little disrespectful. But like, I think every movement player I've watched does this, right? But if you super glide to the right, especially because it's high speed, super glides are notably high speed, especially if you have like Octane Stim or some shit, right? You have a high speed glider to the right, you're really hard to hit. This person's probably gonna start shooting you. And they're probably going to miss a good majority of their shots, right? It's hard to be very accurate on this, even if you're a good aimer. It's just fundamentally good dodge. But what you do by strafing back is that any perceived advantage you had over their crosshair, right? If they're under aiming you, right? Because you're a little green guy doing this thing where you stim and then you're freaking running with your gun out like this, right? And they're behind you. And you're constantly maintaining this advantage, especially as person on the controller. The moment you run back in their crosshair, they're gluing onto you. They're just their crosshairs just stuck on you and glued to you, right? You need to maintain this advantage you have over them to continue going in that same direction. Like you can literally super glide, b-hop around them in a circle, and this is the important thing.
Something I've also noticed that works well when you're losing just the exchange in general is instead of like lurching back to the left, you can super glide backwards, like lurch backwards, and then basically make your hitbox smaller.
Yeah. Another thing, especially as well, I want to bring up the idea of timing and specifically damage output, right? So, if you're fighting somebody, right, the whole idea of what we do with dodge is dodge sets us up for advantageous situations, right? Right, advantageous ad sets, whatever. Right. We're setting us up for advantageous situations so we can actually engage our opponents, right? We're making sure our opponent can't hit as many shots onto them, so we have the opportunity to hit more shots onto them, right? A really good way to do this, for example, with strafe aiming, you should weave in and out of strafe aiming, right? You should be able to strafe aim, stop strafe aiming, strafe aim, stop strafe aiming, strafe aim, right? At the fucking toss of a hat, right? Whenever you need to, whenever you feel it's applicable to. It's not always the answer, but it can be. The important thing to make sure is that situations in which we are advantaged, right? I said for example, if you're this person, and there's a box here, right, and this guy super glides over your head. Let's say this guy has an R9, right? How many bolts does R9 have?
Depends the clip, but 20 to 27.
It's
pretty much.
17 to 26.
Oh, 17 to 26.
Yeah, this is no mag.
This
is purple mag. I asked you as a quiz. This is 17.
Failed.
This is 17 to 26. You'll never be a moving player. This is 17 to 26, right? Now that's not a lot of variance, right? Let's act like an opponent only has 17 bullets in their mag. We actually, we could be nice and say 20 because that's the white mag. Let's say their opponent has 20 bullets in their mag, right?
Yeah.
Now how fast is that? You probably couldn't give me an exact number, but you know the feeling, right? You know the feeling, right? You know how it feels for 20 bolts and an R9 to get shot, right?
Mm-hmm.
The important thing here is that if you super glide over this guy, you go right, and then you land on this guy's behind here. Let's say this guy shoots you in the air and he hits you 4 times. Okay, well I accidentally just wrote 420, but whatever. Snoop Dogg, we
silly smoke
right.
number.
Right. But if this guy hits you 4 out of 20 times with his gun, how much damage has he done? I don't know what the R9 does per bullet. It's like 11, right?
Yeah, so like 40 damage.
That guy did 40 damage to you, right? Oh wow, you're so in danger, right? Now, but this guy has to reload his gun now. So what's his damage output? 0, right?
Yeah.
Now, what's your damage output? 100%, right? It depends on what gun you have, obviously, right? But so what should you do in this situation?
I should
strafe him, or do whatever you can to kill
mirror
him,
him.
right? Whatever, right? Mirror him, anti-mirror him, whatever. Strafe him in general. Oh, excuse me. This is the idea of timing. This is how to fight with your brain, right? Rather than just forcing with your mechanics, right? I want to reference this clip. I need to put this in my coaching folder. I keep forgetting to do so, and I keep losing. View by type. All right, it'll be.
No worries.
Keep forgetting to put this clip in the right place. Right now, when I find it, Here it is. This one. This is the concept of timing from Raven. Or, Raven, which, right? But I want you to watch how he wins this fight. Okay.
Okay.
So why did he win that fight? Okay, obviously he hit his bullets, duh, right? But
he bullet baited a lot and then just took the height, and it was free.
Right. The main thing being that he took no damage here, right? He took 25 damage, right? He got hit with 1 bullet here. And this Watson, what's your damage output right now? 0, right? She's reloading.
Yeah.
You might not be able to see it in the VOD because not only is this compressed, this is like double, triple compressed, right? It's hard to see that she's reloading, but in the game, you can tell when people are reloading, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially you can feel it. If you have a good understanding of the game, you can feel when people are reloading. You know what guns fire rates are like that. Right? So this guy's reloading. His damage output's 0. There's no reason for Raven to ever stop peeking this guy, right? Because Raven earlier in the initiation successfully baited out the opponent's bullets, right? Successfully baited out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bursts, right? That guy's like a purple mag fucking whatever, right? He baited out so many bursts that this person can't shoot anymore, right? So now he takes the opportunity when they're reloading to take high ground, and then on high ground, now this opponent's exposed. If he just ran to high ground here, he would be taking so much more damage because of the engagement, right? This Watson would be shooting him back. He'd be taking upwards of 100 damage, maybe, right? Because of he's effectively limited how much damage the opponent can deal to him. He doesn't have to worry about it now, right? This is the essence of what good movement players should do. They should be using their movement to evade enemy shots, capitalize on the damage output advantage, and kill them. Right? Unironically, I think one of the only movement players do this is Kirito, and that's because, well, I've coached Kirito.
Yes.
I've coached Kirito.
You race through coach goat.
Yeah. If I coach movement players, I don't know what would happen. Right. But this is a perfect example of what you should be doing. Now let's watch this a little bit more let's watch this in a different context and break it. Go to. This is a clip titled "How to Be a Cerebral Fighter." This is Hal fighting 1v1 in the 1v1 tournament he's in, right? And Hal is famously a timing player, right? He's not like, sure, he has good mechanics, but he doesn't use them to kill people, right? He uses timing. He always jumps at good times. He jumps at good opportunities to fight, right? This is a perfect example of that from the 1v1 tournament. I'm just gonna let it play, and then I'll go ahead and let you. I'm gonna narrate. I'm gonna narrate a little bit because you can't hear, right? Fight starts. Climbs. The opponent shoots like 10 bullets. Doesn't reload. And the rest of this is just clean up. This isn't really crazy. Right. So, how did Hal win this?
He basically was just really patient the entire time. He kind of like he didn't really ego at the beginning, but he almost damage checked him. Like if he got to the rock first, he probably would have been able to like basically win that there, but he wasn't able to, so he repositioned kind of.
Realistically, no player's gonna get to the rock first unless they leave like Superglider rollout or some shit, right? I know you can Superglide roll out and like hit the rock first, but like you have to be able to you have to be a nerd to know that, which I do, to be fair. But I don't think any players are gonna go for that, right? You should chalice middle rock in a 1v1. Not only does it show geometric advantage, but it shows that you understand what you're actually doing properly. And both players go for the rock here, right? And since both players are, whatever you think of Tolkien, I think that's how you say the name. It doesn't really matter. They're both in the 1v1 tournament. They're gonna be relatively equal skill, right?
Mm-hmm.
And two players are relatively equal skill, even if there is a skill difference. The damage output's not gonna be very significant, right? So here they both go on the rock and they both chow. They both do like literally the same amount of damage to each other, right? That's literally to be expected. So how does Hal win this? Hal wins this through relying on brain rather than mechanics, right? This other player is using more so mechanics than anything else, right? Hal climbs up here, or he baits a climb up here. The opponent shoots right here. And so now he takes a different off angle. And I want you to look where this player's looking. Well, there's a giant pause button in the fucking way.
He doesn't know how moved.
He literally is looking this way, right? Because who the fuck would expect that they climb up here and then run out here to swing this way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like even if the audio in this game was amazing, you still wouldn't expect that, to be honest with you, right?
That's kind of the same concept as when I've watched your coaching when somebody has height under you and you're like at the bottom of the rock, so you
bait them out,
fade slide back out. Yeah.
Yep, exactly what you do, right? This is the same concept, except and especially because this guy didn't reload, or he either didn't reload or he's reloading right now and you can't hear it. But either way, this guy's caught with his pants down. This is the whole fundamental idea of what movement players should be trying to achieve when they're using movement. Okay.
Okay.
This is how you apply movement with good strafe fundamentals. This is how you apply movement with good game fighting fundamentals in general, right? If you ever play against me in R5, I'm really annoying, by the way, because I always bait and then swing. I bait, then swing, bait, then swing, because I'm not going to chow these players. I'm trying to get a good sense of how these players play. I want to be able to actually understand how people are fighting. You can only do that against real, actual people. Bad players, good players, whatever, right? I am literally playing against Verholst. I bait him. He shoots 7 shots. I white swing him. He can no longer kill me because he has to hit every bullet, and you can't do that. Well, he can, obviously, but like it's very unlikely he's going to, right? And I have the luxury of being able to miss more shots now because I have my full mag, right? Yep. Or even if I bait peek, and they shoot like 3 bullets, I can now swing out peek and then go back into cover, trade a lot of damage. I've been able to catch people for 100 sprays with that, right? Just very simple. It's kind of the whole. I don't have coaching clips because my hard drive died, but I have plenty. I need to get examples. But it's something that's really easy to learn, but you have to use mental cognition in doing so. And you should do this in pubs and stuff like that too, right?